is up? English 1. I'm so excited to have you guys here. I wish I could be there, but I'm over here, obviously. And today I'm going to walk you through what we're doing today. Now, we're doing activity 3.12 in the Springboard. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Springboard and wave my mouse around, do some magic stuff. But this is the instructions for Monday, February the 1st, 2021. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll go to the Springboard. We'll dive right in. So we're going to start activity 3.12 on page 386 of the PDF, but the physical page, you guys in person obviously will have 364. That's what we're going to look at, and we're going to be analyzing a rhetorical argument. So the rhetorical appeals, as we review pathos, ethos, logos, we know that pathos is an appeal to emotion. We know that ethos is an appeal using credibility, trying to convince someone of something. We also know that logos is logic. That's your numbers, your data, your statistics. So today, our learning targets are to demonstrate an understanding of the skills and knowledge necessary to complete Embedded Assessment 1. Now, I'm still not decided if we're going to do Embedded Assessment 1, but we are going to analyze and identify the effectiveness of rhetorical devices in a speech. We're going to read a speech today. You guys are going to kind of pick it apart like so much rotisserie chicken. And then you will be able to explain how a writer or speaker uses rhetoric to advance his or her purpose. So in this activity, the topic shifts from work for teenagers to college. And like I said, we're going to be talking about college this week, whether or not it's valuable, whether or not you should be involved in higher education or possibly vocation, which we talked a little bit about last week. So I want to spend a couple minutes talking about these essential questions. So number one, first of all, what makes an argument convincing? If someone yells louder than everyone else, does that make them a really good person to argue with? Or is it the facts and the support and the evidence? So we need to think about this. What makes an argument convincing? Is it because they saw some tweet on Twitter? Is it because they read an article in a reputable newspaper or magazine? Is it because of expert testimony? These are the things that you need to look at when it comes to convincing arguments. Also, what makes a piece of evidence compelling? So this is something to think about. When you're talking about evidence, how is it trustworthy? Can you trust this evidence? And now, as we're wrapping these things up, what is the value of work for teenagers? Now, you guys wrote an essay a while back talking about what good jobs might be for teenagers. That was way back in the first semester. But we're going to be reading today parts of an argument, and I want to kind of break down what the main parts of an argument are. So convincing arguments have at least 4 main parts: a claim, reasoning, evidence, and then how they deal with the counter arguments. In order to strengthen your position, you have to address the fact that there's going to be a different position, another position. If you fail to address that, it actually weakens your argument because people think, well, his argument can't stand up to what other people are trying to say. He doesn't even talk about it. So the first thing, part of an argument, claims. So offering solution to problems, trying to convince readers to change their thoughts or actions related to a problem, and it's based on reasons. So in order to establish the claim, or in this case, to go and find the claim, what do they think about this problem? Now, we talked about Ben Sass. What did he think about the problem? Well, kids they don't have enough adversity. They have too much advantage. And we looked at what does Derek Thompson say about teenagers? Well, it's not that they're lazy. It's that they're more academically focused than vocationally focused. So we found their claims pretty easily. And today, on your own, you are going to go and find the speaker's claims. So when we get to reasoning, you are going to look at, all right, so what are the logical grounds that show this claim is important? There has to be a link between the claim and the evidence. And reasoning answers this question. Why does this person believe this? They have to convince us. If they're not even convinced, we're not going to be convinced if they don't support their own argument. And the reasoning is supported by the evidence. This is the data, the facts. How do you know your idea is right? what can you use to support it? Not just logical statements, if this, then that, but what about the data? How do you support your claim? Then we arrive down here at the bottom of the page, the treatment of the counter arguments. You have to acknowledge, even if you don't want to, you have to acknowledge that there is another side to every argument. So then, if you think about these ahead of time, if you come up with possible solutions, that actually strengthens your argument because it shows not only have you established your position, but you have also considered the alternative position and have responses for that. So we're going to read a speech here from someone who put forth an argument, and I want you to underline phrases. Let's see if I can do this with my mouse here. Underline phrases or sections that seem compelling. And I want you to circle unknown words and phrases. Circle those. And try to determine the meaning of those words using context clues, word parts, or if you have to, you can always use a dictionary in my class. So on the next page, digital 388, physical page 366, we're going to be reading a speech from former President Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States, senator from Illinois. He rose to national prominence after a speech at the '04 Democratic National Convention. Born in Honolulu, Hawaii, attended Occidental College, Columbia University, has a law degree from Harvard, also civil rights lawyer and a teacher prior to entering politics. Now, speaking of politics, in many of my classes, we have some really good discussions, and I love to hear all your different perspectives, and many of you have different perspectives on this speaker. But nobody can deny that President Obama was a really good speaker. Now, whether you agreed with his arguments or not, well, that's up to you to decide. But our assignment today is to read and analyze this speech by former President Obama. So I want you to take some time and read remarks by the president in a national address to America's school children. It's a bit of a lengthy read, so it may take you a while. I'm thinking maybe 12 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes. As you're reading, make sure that you are marking. And in about 15, maybe 20 minutes, I'm thinking. If you want to read with a partner or you want to take turns reading out loud, it's quite a lengthy piece. So we get here to the end, making observations. Which images and details in the speech stand out to you? What language stands out to you? I'm going to go ahead and give you this one. He uses appropriate diction. He's not going to use very lofty, high-level diction because he's not talking to academics. He's talking to kids. So he uses appropriate diction. But then, here's where I want you to end up, in the soapstone passage. So this is probably where we're going to finish today. I want to make sure that you guys finish soapstone. It stands for speaker, occasion, audience, purpose, subject, and tone. So the speaker, obviously, is the voice that tells the story. We say speaker because sometimes the narrator is not the same person as the author. We're about to read a book a couple weeks later about To Kill a Mockingbird. The author is not the narrator. The narrator is the character in the story. So the occasion, what happened that causes this? Not purpose. Occasion and purpose are different, okay? You need to know that. The occasion is what happened to bring this about. The audience is who it's intended for. Remember, we already know not every speech, not every book was written for freshman students. We are reading something that was written for America's school children, but we also read stuff written historical. We read stuff written for different populations. You need to know how they are relating to the target audience. Then we come to purpose. Why did the author write this text? Not what happened to bring it about. That's occasion. Occasion is not purpose. Purpose is not occasion. So then we get to the subject. What are they talking about? Well, this is probably the easiest one that you're going to find. And when you combine all of these, how they relate to their audience, what their response is to the occasion, their purpose, then we're going to get into tone. and I want you to fill this out by the end of class. Now, if we have time, I don't know that we're going to have time because it's such a long passage, but I want you to try and see if you can get to numbers 5 through 11. Now, tomorrow, in a recap video, I'm going to go ahead and answer 5 through 11 with you, and those go all the way to page 396 digitally, 374 physically. I don't want you to go past that. We're not really going to deal with the smell strategy. We're going to stick with soapstone for today. So go ahead and take your time. It might take you about 20 minutes almost to read and annotate, not just read, but annotate this passage. And then make sure by the end of class that you finish your soapstone argument. So that's on the docket for today. I am excited to continue to work with you and continue to see you learn, even if it's just checking up for the next 3 days. Physically, I'll be back on Thursday, but each day I'll have a video, some instruction for you so that you can stay up to date. If you have any questions, shoot me a Teams message. I won't respond right away because I've got a lot of meetings and a lot of videos to go through today, but I'm still here, still available if you need any help. So go ahead and read, analyze the speech. Maybe you don't agree with the person, maybe you do, but we're going to analyze how former President Barack Obama structured his argument.